This is the Week in Sustainability from Sustain.Life. It's where our team of sustainability experts and practitioners share commentary to keep you up to date on developing stories and news.
Welcome back to the Week in Sustainability. I'm Bobby Height. I am a senior sales leader here at Sustain.Life and really excited to kick off my first episode with Ali Cammisa, who is the Senior Director of Sustainability and Social Impact at CRG Restaurant Group. And today we're going to dive into a special episode to celebrate Earth Day. Thanks so much
Yay.
for Ali for joining.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm super stoked to be here. Thanks for having me.
I think it's been so cool to see, historically, Earth Days, in the past couple of years have really just become a compelling event for organizations to tell their story around how they're impacting the earth, right? And society. And to
Mhm.
me, I think storytelling is really foundational to a strong marketing function. So I'm really curious to hear from your perspective, how have the data and insights that you've been able to access using the Sustain Life platform impacted the stories that you've really been capable of telling?
Yeah, absolutely. So we first got, I'm going to backtrack a little bit just to kind of explain where it all bloomed from, but we got Sustain Life 2 years ago now. And last year was really about collecting all of the data and first fully understanding the data for myself. Cause I was like, I don't feel comfortable even sharing this externally or even with a lot of our teams until I can fully like step into it and let it seep into my bones a bit and turn it into something I could speak to. And again, just like fully understand. And so that was really the first step for me here. And it was like this, I guess it could be this like internal storytelling of my own. And then I started to weave some of these metrics through all of our meetings and really being able to leverage the conversation where it needed to go with having metrics that backed these initiatives or these ideas, let's say. And one of the main ones was our composting initiative that we rolled out last year, Sustain Life, and having um, visibility into, the carbon impact of all of our waste and being able to really track it and see how it fluctuates over time. And then when we integrated with composting to see how our carbon footprint actually dropped and to see how much we were actually offsetting or diverting every single year and what the equivalence for that was too. So it was really cool to be able to, of course, this is like a incredible idea and we really know how to share it with our teams and with our community of what we're doing. But to have the metric to back it up and really like stand solid in what we're doing and also to be able to speak to everyone in the room or everyone in our community because I think it's been so much fun to have all of these different outputs of storytelling, whether it's like a really dope composting video or an experiential event at camp or a beach cleanup, an impact report, or just like a graphic that has like our composting metrics on it. There's all of these opportunities and ways to invite humans into our journey and, some will resonate with some people and some won't. But I think it's been so cool to be able to have the actual numbers and metrics to plug in and explain to those who are really interested in it. And so, yeah, it's been great. It's been incredible. It's been great to also have the financial piece in there too, because again, I think it's really hard to walk on this sustainability journey as a team if not everyone has something that kind of excites them or draws them in. And I mean, if we look at nature, biodiversity is like so important to make a thriving ecosystem. And so when we look at our company and our brands and our community and our supply chain as an ecosystem, and we're able to have diversity in the way that we excite those other people or those other ideas, then it's just been great. And it's had this like huge collective kind of like shift that happens. And now it's like
Right.
people can resonate in different areas and continue to just like walk and be a part of it. So it's been so much fun.
Yeah. I'm so curious. Like, how do you find the balance, right? When you're communicating these ideas, whether it be internally or communicating stories to your customers, how do you find the balance of how to communicate this so this doesn't go over your customers' heads or the executives' heads, you know, in a way that you're speaking to things that your customers and the executives really care about? How do you find that?
Yeah. So I think it's important to keep things playful. I think we take a lot of things in life very seriously. And it has this like in general, sustainability can feel like this huge thing that it's like, wow, there's like so much going on and it feels so unapproachable at times. And so I love this question because it kind of like highlights that point. But I really think it's important to keep things playful and working across the three brands. It's really fun to be able to leverage their own voice and personality and um, use that to speak to our guests and to speak even to our teams. And so, yeah, I think it's to simplify in a sense. I think we like to overcomplicate things as humans. And when we can simplify things, we can kind of pick away from the extra noise and really allow it to like resonate and integrate into the conversation and with our teams. And so, yeah, I think it's all about just like keeping it fun, keeping it playful, making people feel a part of it is so key because it's such a holistic way of viewing business and like just a philosophy in general. It touches everyone and everyone's so interconnected. And so I think to not overcomplicate and not provide too much to where people feel like it's not approachable anymore.
Yeah, without a doubt. And, obviously working both for Sustain Life and communicating with, executives all over the globe, really, it's so important to kind of find that sweet spot to where, you're speaking a language that's going to resonate with, kind of the receiving end, right?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
with CRG specifically, parent company that has several different brands under it, both in restaurant and fitness. Um, is sustainability a true priority across the board, or does it really kind of depend on the concept of that specific restaurant or that corporate, kind of environment?
Yeah, so it's definitely a priority across the board. It's become so intertwined in just our daily conversations, and it's helped to shape decision making in so many areas. And that's been this like kind of awakening that's been happening over the
Yeah.
past few years. But honestly, all of the founders and uh, partners have this value inside of them. It's so deeply rooted. And so CRG has really like bloomed from a space of wanting this to be a priority in how we do things. And then as we evolve and grow, of course, it becomes more dominant and it changes with us and with where we're at. But it's really fun because each brand is able to express it in their own way. There's so much like it's an endless journey of sustainability and understanding impact and making it more positive. And I think that it's so cool to watch the brands, when we're talking about the strategy, pick and choose what really resonates with them because we're all in different seasons. And so it's been really cool to see and be a part of like finding what works for the brand right now and, you know, launching that initiative or launching that idea or integrating that policy, whatever it may be. And then as a collective, we're able to cross utilize these learnings and unlearnings and all of these things that appear within the other brands' initiatives that they choose to go with. So, yeah, it's definitely like a core pillar across the company. Absolutely. But then it's really fun because it's this individualized journey for each brand.
Yeah, and I could see that approach, actually, being applicable to, as you guys continue to grow and develop new concepts, right? Having a
Yeah.
playbook that has, failed forward
Hmm.
essentially. Because you're right, like sustainability is a journey. There is no end, right? There is not going to ever be a world in which everything is rainbows and butterflies and we've solved all of the world's problems, right?
Yeah.
but being able to take our learnings and apply them in a more efficient direction, I think is key for the development of sustainability programs just moving forward and in perpetuity.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really cool to even pass the brands to work with our partners and suppliers and things like that and really create these reciprocal relationships, not only with the brands within the company, but external brands and nature and all of the things. So there's so much overlap with beauty. It's very cool.
Yeah. To me, being a Tampanian, I've lived here for 6 years. CRG and your associated restaurant groups has really been a staple in my life. I'd say weekly. I spend
I
far
love
too
that
much
so
money.
much. What's your
But
favorite concept? What's your go-to?
um, I love Taco Dirty.
So
That's
good.
been a really awesome fast cash quality stop for me. Anytime I drive down Howard Avenue, I oftentimes find myself stopping in. Fresh Kitchen has also
So
been
good.
incredible as well. The quality of food that you're sourcing there. I'm really curious. Have you found that to be a competitive differentiator for you? And have you seen positive business outcomes from you know surfacing and sourcing organic foods?
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely a link between the two, and they're one of the same, really, in my eyes, and kind of where we're
Yeah.
heading. And so it's something that matters so deeply to us as a brand. And so it's been really cool to be able to attract other humans or even introduce these types of ways of eating to other humans um, that feel aligned with, what we're doing. But yeah, it's been so much fun, and we're about to actually launch a supply chain audit literally next week. It's one of our
There you
upcoming
go.
initiatives, and so it'll be really cool to become even more intimate with our supply chain and kind of choose what that's going to look like and how we're going to evolve, whether it's localizing it or diversifying it or leaning into certifications, but really taking a hard look at that. And Sustain Life is going to help us out with that majorly with all the supplier assessments and the detailed
Yeah.
information that we're able to collect there. And so it'll be cool to see how, it continues to build. I think it's definitely something that we're always working towards. And we do have a sustainable purchasing guide that we use with making decisions. And so there's always this lens of filtration that we apply on top of big decisions that we're looking to do. And our new purchaser is really heavily focused on it. She's really into it herself. And so I think it also comes down to having the right people inside and making sure that our culture is super intact too, so that there is this level of awareness that automatically is applied and it doesn't always have to be this afterthought. It's so deeply integrated into who we are and how we do things that it's just part of how we flow. And so it's been really cool to continue leaning into that.
Yeah. I think that's incredible. And, I think about some of the initiatives that CRG has rolled out relatively recently in the past couple of years,
Mhm.
composting programs, recycling, diversion programs. When I think about some of the major challenges facing the restaurant industry, a lot of it is kind of rooted in, both habits and systems that have been developed over the course of the past decades. And food waste is a massive concern, not only because of food insecurity, right? Not even, across the world, across the United States, but
Totally.
methane produced as a result of food waste ending up in our landfills has kind of been under fire, over
Mhm.
the course of the past year, I'd say. And what is CRG doing, to address some of, these issues to kind of play their part?
Yeah. So specifically, Cali and Fresh Kitchen rolled out a composting program last year, and it has been so beyond epic. Not only do we get to support an incredible partner, Renewable, shout out to Renewable. They are the best. They help us compost. They collect all of our organic waste and they bring it back to their farm down in South Florida and, get the composting going. And It's been huge. Like, we're diverting over 50% of the waste that we were sending to landfill. It's like over 1.5 million pounds every single year across the 18 locations. So that's all the FKs and all of the Callies. And it's been really cool because our team members are super stoked on it too. And uh, it's just a massive, massive contributor in the restaurant industry as a whole, and it's one of these things that is gonna happen no matter what, like, no matter what, in a sense, and so it was really important for us to introduce this initiative so that we were doing what we could as an industry to help not contribute to that landfill waste anymore and that huge impact that, um negative impact that we were helping, keep alive. And it's been really great because even at our camp location in Tampa, we have a little composting drop off station with renewable as well. And so not only are we doing it internally, but we're inviting the community in to join us too. And they can do it at home and come bring their bins and dump their waste. And so it's been really fun. And we have a community garden there too that's really
Awesome.
sweet and beautiful. And gets people, connected with the soil, and they take all of their waste too and toss it in the compost. And so it's been really nice for us to align and really be able to refine how we look at quote unquote waste, because it's actually this amazing gold that, we can turn into this really nutrient rich soil and put it back into our earth. And so it's been so it's been such a special initiative, and it's really one that was top priority for us, and so hopefully one day we'll get it across all of CRG.
Yeah. What advice would you give to other restaurant groups out there who are looking at this daunting task, and integrating sustainable, business practices into their everyday operations? What advice would you give to them just to kind of get started?
Yeah, I would first say make sure that first off, you're connecting with nature and spending time with nature, because I think that a lot of times we have all of these grand ideas and we try to start incorporating them into our business, but we always if you're not actually understanding why it's important, or you don't have that relationship with nature and therefore yourself, I think that a lot of it can fall short and it becomes this like to-do list. So first, go spend some time in nature and take some deep breaths. And that would be my first tip. But then from there, I would say, take it slow, really fully understand stuff before you start trying to roll out too many things. I think when I first stepped into this role, it was brand new. I actually proposed it to the company and they were like, yeah, let's go for it. There was a lot of, again, like coming back to the first question, just understanding with where we're at and not trying to make too many fast changes. And because I think if you don't have a proper understanding of your baseline, it's really hard to formulate ideas that make sense for you specifically at this time with the brand. So I would start with finding just like a baseline of where you're at. We use the impact assessment to do that, which is the assessment that B Corp uses to certify B Corp companies and businesses. But it's this really holistic way of looking at your business and seeing all of the possibilities that there are out there and kind of where you're at too. And then I think it's about having lots of conversations internally and just making sure that, you're all on the same page. And then lastly, I would say really just like stay focused on why it's important to you specifically as like a human who's leading it and then also as a brand. So really making sure that you understand the brand's philosophy or helping them shape it, and that comes with a lot of, education and making sure that you're looking at the right things and not looking at too much, because it can feel like, all right, where do I start? Like this is so overwhelming. But I think that I don't think it really needs to be that way. Of course, there's times where it can, but to make something truly sustainable, it's, you take your steps with grace and you fully integrate before you move on to the next thing. And I think that's key.
It's really well said. Any plans for CRG this Earth Day?
Oh, yeah. So Fresh Kitchen, they're doing a fun little like tree planting party and give back with fleet farming. And it's cool because they're actually going to use some of the compost from renewable with planting those trees. So it's this really like circular experience, which will be really nice and fun. And then Callie, we're going to share our impact report from 2023, and so is camp. And for Callie, we used to have a beach cleanup club that we actually are kind of taking a little rest on right now because we launched this watershed project with sea trees down in the Florida Keys. And so we're really gonna, share a lot about that partnership and see who wants to come out to our next volunteer day and really just show what's kind of happening year round on Cali. And then for camp kind of celebrates Earth Day all quarter. We have like a Camp Goes Greens quarter, and we're partnering with a local coastal regenerative farm right in Florida. If you haven't been, it's amazing. It's Fat Beat Farm. And they had like the dopest operation, and they really have things like extremely done with wisdom. I don't know if that made sense, but like it is
Yeah.
so beautifully done. And so you can see the connection they have with the land and with themselves in all of the stuff they do. And so we're going to do some cool experiential things for camp. And then we always plant a or a tree at camp as well every Earth Day. And last year we planted a lemon tree and we named it Raymond. So that's cute. So we'll see who joins the family this year.
I love
Yeah.
it. For our viewers watching, where can we find some more information around the initiatives that you guys are launching soon? Or for anybody who's looking maybe for some inspiration, where can we find CRG?
Yeah. So we all have CRG, each brand has their own Instagram. So I'm not going to list them all out, but
Oh,
for the
good.
three brands I work across, Eat Fresh Kitchen, Eat at Cali, and then I think it's We Love Camp. I hope that's right.
Yep.
Those are the handles. And then also same for our websites. And on there, our impact reports live. So our 2022 impact report and then this 2023 impact report, which will be going live all next week across the three brands. And that really gives, I always like to think of it when I'm like creating them, that it's like this journal, this diary of where we're at and where we're going. And it's a really good way to just be transparent and honest and invite others into our journey. And so, yeah, I would say that. And then, um, I'm always down to connect with whoever too. So you can always reach out to me personally. I think it's such a core part of this work is actually like talking and speaking with other humans.
I could not agree more. And with that, thank you everyone for listening to the week in sustainability. And Ali, thank you for joining me, not only for
Yeah,
my
it's so
first
fun.
episode, but for our very special Earth Day episode here.
Sustain.Life is the leading and most comprehensive sustainability software on the market. To learn how we can help your company measure its emissions and take climate action, go to Sustain.Life. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this show on our YouTube channel or your favorite podcast platform. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week.